been playing baseball today. We do appreciate having you guys show up. We feel it's very important this year to continue to build on our AR baseball program. And it starts with us, starts with the coaching, and then it comes trickling down to our kids and trying to develop that very competitive program. We're taking steps in the right direction, and we do appreciate having you guys come out tonight and learn a little bit more. We're going to have very interactive question-answer sessions. We're going to talk, this is our first topic, we're going to talk about practice plans and the importance of having a very good plan prior to getting out on the baseball diamond so our kids can get the most out of their time and you can get the most out of them for the season. So a couple guys that we have in tonight to help us with that. We have Kevin Brass, the head coach for Anoka High School, and Don Gower, head coach for Andover High School, helping us out tonight. And three guys over here. We got all 11 U players. We have Ben Roberts, Jake Garlick, and Rowan Jungling going to help us do a few of the drills tonight too. So thanks you guys for coming out and helping us out. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Don and Kevin.
Come on up.
All right.
Thank you. We got a couple of rival head coaches here, but we're friends and we know each other. We're both pretty similar situations. We have young kids, and I've been involved coaching at the head coaching level in the high school for 11 years. I was 10 years as an assistant, but I've also coached all the way down to 4-year-old kids, and I know what that's all about. And but I want to talk about some things and help Kevin get some things going here too. You want to talk about yourself?
Yeah, this is about my, fourth year as head coach at Anoka High School, maybe my 7th year in the Anoka High School program. And then before that, I coached in Richfield, which was awesome. I had a few years at Coon Rapids High School. Got to learn a little bit there, and a year over at Wyzetta. And coached the Legion team at Champlain Park High School for a couple of years. So it's been great kind of getting around, seeing all these guys. Don's an old Coon Rapids guy as well. So just kind of picking up all that information and trying to give it back as much as we can.
Well, what we were going to talk about is those young guys that from T-ball, up to about machine pitch. It's kind of set the scenario for you. It's April. It's about 40 degrees. It's getting colder as the night moves on. It's early April. You just get your team. You just get your practice. Wind is howling from the northwest, and you got an hour on Bunnell, and it just looks like the crater it looks like the moonscape out there, and you have to figure out what to do with that. Hopefully tonight we can give you some ideas. You get a bunch of kids that show up. They don't know each other. Some do. They already start swirling around, and they're running around and goofing around. You got some kids in t-shirts. Some kids look like they're in snowmobile suits, and that's not too far off. But we want to talk about giving you some ideas on some structure, some coaching points. I brought a bunch of stuff over here that I want to kind of show off. I was telling these guys earlier, I kind of feel like the carrot top of the coaching industry here a little bit. I have some gimmick type of things and some other stuff that should just be part of, I think, your coaching bag. We all do this for various reasons, but coaching, yeah, we get paid for it, but if it's bottom line, you figure it out, it's not much. And obviously the coaches that volunteer are doing it because they love the game and their kid's probably involved. I mean, bottom line, your kid's probably involved. And so you want to do a good job. You show up to the ballpark wanting to make a difference. So we're going to try to talk about doing that. We talk about warming up and all those. I'm going to go off of this plan right here. I wrote a bunch of stuff up here. Kevin has a few things too. I wrote a bunch of stuff that I've shared with the Andover Baseball Association that I'm starting to work with the Coon Rapids American Little League, because they have Andover over there as well. And then the AR groups have this longer. I've put a lot of stuff together. I also have PowerPoints and such that have live video with some things. I don't know if you've had a chance to see some stuff I've done in the past, but there's a lot back there. Take extras if you want tonight for fellow coaches. Ask me questions on email. Should be on some of those sheets. Please, just anytime you want want to know anything, I'm sure Kevin's the same way, ask us either way.
Yeah, we're gonna throw the stuff up on the website as well, so that's gonna be another place that you have access to.
Good deal. Kind of off the bat, before we even get into the warm-up piece, I'm going to talk about a few things that I kind of jotted down off to the side. First thing, have a plan and be prepared to adjust it. You know, having a great plan or having at least a format in mind allows the kids to know that practice is going to be predictable and that they kind of know what's coming up next, because surprises, when the second you get 7, 8, 9, 10 together, a group of 10 of them, and you start getting surprises going on, and then it doesn't seem like you're organized with it, all heck breaks loose. And they start getting kids doing this and swinging bats there and grabbing the ball over here, and it just gets crazy. I wanted to talk about, after we talk about warm-up and throwing and solid, there's a lot of little fine points that I want to throw in there, and I think Kevin has a bunch too. We'll kind of go through this, maybe 15 minutes of just going through this, and then I want to open it up, give you guys a chance to ask Kevin questions, ask me any questions. Maybe there's some, I'm sure there's great ideas out here, and then other ideas I've seen along the way or used. And then we'll be done, probably wrap it up about 5 to 8 so we can switch groups. So, warming up, especially like I told you the scenario, you got a 35 to 40 degree evening, it's 6 o'clock, it's one of your first nights. Those kids shouldn't even be grabbing a baseball until their bodies are warmed up somewhat. And they're never going to fully warm up, but doggone it, when you have those meetings or you send out that first night email, have them wearing sleeves, have them bring a jacket with them. And I know it's not your fault if they don't, because the mom or dad will drop them off, and then boom, they'll be gone, doing their thing for an hour, and then you're stuck with the kid there, freezing like crazy, and you have to try to keep them loose and warm, and it's virtually impossible in a t-shirt. Might not hurt to have an extra sweatshirt along with you, a couple sweatshirts those first nights, but give them a warm up, and you can do a lot of different things. You could run with them. I've seen people throw a ball up, 75 feet, 100 feet, whatever, and then have the kids go chase it, pick it up, and come on back. Whatever it takes to get them loose. Have a good warm-up. Then we're going to talk about, after done warming up, you want to get these kids understanding what you want to work on, even at the youngest ages. If your goal that night is to talk about hitting fundamentals, then tell them, hey, we're here to do the simple things. Keep our hands together when we're swinging, hold on to the bat when you're done swinging, or release it without letting the catcher get smacked, that kind of thing. Whatever it takes. You might have a couple different objectives. And you might have a hitting objective, you might have a fielding objective, you might have a throwing objective, but let them know what you want to work with and what you want to be working on that night.
Yeah, let me just jump in on the warm-up thing too. One of the things that we do, and this could be something to incorporate young, is we preach, we're always going to warm up as a team. We're always going to run as a team, we're going to stretch as a team. And so when they're running, a lot of times, at the varsity level, we got them running out in the outfield, and if I see that line stretch out, I'm going to send them back. Okay, we're going to run as a group. We're going to, it's just that discipline, that thing that makes them feel like they're part of a team, part of an organization. So, even at the young kids' age, let's run together. We're going to stretch together, and preach that early, and hopefully we can, kind of pass that on as part of our tradition.
The hard part is when you get those kids to show up 5, 10, 15 minutes late. That's the hard part.
Or early.
Early they're ready and they can help you set up.
Well, you have a few kids that are early.
Absolutely.
We like to do that as a team, I think, but then what would happen, I think, sometimes is 3 kids would be there early, 3 kids would be there late.
Well, there's things you can do early, for those kids, but and we'll get to that.
Okay.
We get to,
little things you can.
But when it's team practice time, it's time to work and run together, do the stretch together, and that kind of thing. Little kids can learn some simple stretches too, and I can, after they get into to run, they can do this. They can do this. They can. There's one of my favorites. I like to make a stop sign, have my arm nice and straight, and pull it back, and then they feel it in here and do it upside down. There's 4 or 5 different stretches. They get in a routine of understanding, hey, when we're done warming up, we're going to stretch. When we're done stretching, we're going to partner up and grab a ball. And then it's time to play catch and that kind of thing.
Yep. So you want to get to throwing?
Sure.
Because one of the things, let you grab something there.
Sure.
One of the things, I got the email, and it was, from my perspective, is when I get the kids, by their freshman years, there's one thing that I would love to emphasize at this age, and in my opinion, it is throwing. It is, teach them how to throw with proper mechanics. Throw every single day. Try to teach them to throw, correctly. Long toss every single day. And someone was asking me earlier, they're like, "Oh, don't you want to? What about pitching and things like that. I'm like, well, I can make a good thrower a pitcher. So if everybody knows how to throw and everybody is doing it properly and every day we're getting a little bit stronger, you're going to have, if you have 16 kids on a team or 15 kids on, what do you have on the team? 12 kids on a team, you're going to have 12 pitchers if everybody learns how to throw. So this, I think we do it very similar from what I've seen. We do it every single day. From day one, we start our throwing routine and we just kind of add to it and extend our long toss. But imagine you're going to go through some of the, the line baseballs. We do the same thing. So
well, for little kids, it's going to be different. A little bit different. You can take some of these, take some baseballs and line them up if you want, so the kids can practice putting fingers on either side of them and do that. I have some Incrediballs, nice and soft. They don't hurt. With that first night or two of practice, maybe just lining up some tennis balls. But we don't want anybody get hit in the face, and we want them not to be fearful after the first night. But start easy with them. There are some things that we can have kids do right off the bat. We want them to work on levers, wrist, elbow, shoulder, and working together. Even at young kids' age, they can do some of those things. So I'm going to bring you guys over here. I'm going to have you guys kind of triangle up. It starts out. Jake, why don't you go over here? Ben, you don't need to go up. Ben, you're over here, and Rowan over here.
Thank you.
Jake. So you guys can get on one knee, and this is the type of thing that Jake's going to throw to Ben, or flip to Ben. Ben will flip to Rowan, Rowan back to Jake. And just on a knee, get the hand under the elbow, and just isolate the wrist, and do this. And you guys have seen this in clinics before, so we'll be moving on pretty quick. But little kids, what they'll do is they'll try to, you tell them just flip it. They'll bring it back and they'll try to move it with the shoulder, and that's a coaching point is don't let them get too far apart. Let them stay close so they can work on their flips. Kevin, you want to go through some of the things that you...
Yeah, I can. Just so you know, Mark just pointed it out that there's on Don's larger document here, he's got a photo of the kids kind of doing some of these drills on there, and you'll see them down in one thing, kind of getting that. So we can do the same one. So you know what? Let me just use two of you, I think, right now. And so you have a line baseball. Can we do that?
Yeah. I'll get them.
Okay. One of the things, as you saw them trying to flip this baseball, I can't see rotation at all. And maybe at the younger age, is this? And you can tell me if this is too early.
You can do it with tennis balls.
Okay. What I like to be able to do is when they're doing these flip drills, and I'm walking around just kind of watching the kids do it, the line allows me to see the rotation on the ball, which I can't always see if it's not lined. So can you do the flip drill just with your elbow, with the line, and you try to get that nice straight black line, and the kids can see it. A lot of times I'll even have to help them with their grip because I want to make sure that that thumb is on that black line at the bottom. So when they're flipping it, go.
But the whole purpose of this is you start having kids throwing from the outfield or from shortstop or pitching or catching. You want them to be able to throw a ball straight. If they start having a tail on their throw from center field to the cutoff man, that takes the cutoff man offline. Your pitcher, obviously, you want movement, and you can talk about that in a different sense, but catchers throwing to second base, you don't want a tail. You want them to work on a nice straight throw.
Now let's back you up, and we're going to keep you on a knee though, and now what I'm going to do is get you into what we call a stack power tee. Can you get into this position here? Okay, and what I will do is, we'll start them with here, and all we preach is down, out, and back. So some of the phrases that we use, I'm going to try to use those now, is when I say down, out, and back, I want this hand going up here and here. So when I say stack power tee, it means that his hand is stacked above his elbow. Should be facing me. We're still going to get into that grip. And I'll have the kids stop in that position. Looks like we've done this many, many times before. What I'm looking for, and this usually is a good kind of visual for the kids, is I'll walk over there. When I see them stopped in this position, I'll put my finger on their elbow and I'll say, is this where you're throwing? Right here? And I'll say, no, I'm throwing to that guy. Then I'm like, okay, well then I want that elbow pointing at your target. So where do you want to put that elbow? There you go. So now we're pointing at our target. So I want everything in a line. And I try to teach that as early as possible. I just smacked them in the face. A lot of people will ask me, Don, I don't know what your opinion on this, whether they do this or they do this.
I don't care.
whatever the kid wants to do. I think it's a non-teach as long as this is in that direction. You know, a lot of kids want to do this, or they want to do this. It doesn't matter to me as long as everything's in a line. Okay, so we'll have them start here, down, out, and back. I'm going to have them pause, and everyone's going to stop. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to adjust every single kid. So it's good to have parents that know how to do this, other coaches that can help you out, and then we'll throw it, you know, kid receives it.
Machine pitch kids can do this. T-ball kids, it's going to be a struggle. And just getting some flips down is going to be one of those things that you're going to want to assign as homework to them. Tell them, hey, I want you to flip about 15 balls a day to your sister, to your mom or dad, grandma, whoever. And but machine pitch kids can start doing this. We could go through a umpteen different drills, but we want to move on. And let's just show maybe a couple more. You guys get in the power tee and just go ahead and lightly throw back and forth, and I'll have you guys do some butt-ups. And then we'll have you get in a balanced standing power tee. So you have your group play and catch, and they're starting with 5 to 7 flips. That's it. It's not 5 to 7 minutes of flips. It's 5 to 7 flips. It's 5 to 7 of these. It's 5 to 7 on the big sheet. You pick. I mean, if you teach them all throughout the course of the year, all the different types of things they can do. I mean, there's cross-unders, there's figure eights, and they get into a power position. Why don't you guys do some butt-ups? And this isn't much fun, but the butt-up, if you can't see, it's just the idea is being in this position, down on your knees, and then throwing and finishing, and your butt's coming off the ground, but you finish and release out front. So, I mean, and it takes time, it takes practice. Rowan just started doing some butt-ups about 6 weeks ago in fall ball, and we just tried to get that going with his age. But I've done this with 9 and 10-year-old kids. Haven't done it with 6 or 7. I don't see them probably doing that. But as they progress into 8, 9, and 10, they can do this kind of thing because you want them to eventually pitch. They need to work on getting their body in a good position. So, all right, skip the butt-ups. Let's stand up. Up here, elbow leading your target. And go ahead and finish. Back up, Ron. Don't hit the lights. All right, Jake. Spread, here, stacked, finish.
Yeah, and that's what we will do too. We'll always, a lot of times I like to stop them, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ron. Keep playing catch.
Yep, keep playing catch. Because I'll have them, you know, and emphasize that down, out, and back.
Stacked, wide, and top.
One of the things at the younger ages too, you know, I just was playing catch with my 4-year-old today actually at a park, and we went over this. He threw a ball and almost clocked me in the face. The first day of practice, even at the varsity level, we talked about calling for the ball. And I just had this discussion with the 4-year-old, and it went perfect. And I said, you know, is there a way for me to tell you that I'm ready for the ball, you know? And we talked about, this is our signal to call for the ball. We call for the ball with our hands. We never throw a ball unless we have 2 hands up like this, just like that. That means we're ready.
Ron, when you're ready to throw, pause and stop. Okay? Let yourself stop. So there's a bunch of different things we can do throwing. Then after this, get them up, move them back, play catch. As they're playing catch, 2 hands up. Even T-baller kids can be playing catch 2 hands up and moving their feet to the baseball. My little kid played T-ball last year, and I watched the kids in the team. Awesome coach, fantastic guy. But the nature of 5 and 6-year-olds is to just watch the ball go on. And so teach them, go get the baseball with your feet. It starts early, and if they do that early, going to get it with their feet, their hands follow, they're in a position where they can make a good throw, but go get it with your feet. Don't just watch the ball. So you guys go ahead and play some catch. And then here's where things go funky. If these guys are paying attention and we're doing their flips, they should still be able to throw a reasonably decent striked ball. If something's up where they're not throwing a very good strike ball, a kind of a mushy ball, well then they need to think about what's happening. And hopefully they start, this is the time to think about it. In practice, before the season starts, those first few weeks. You don't want them thinking during the season as much. They can still work on things, but this is the time to break things down. The one thing I was saying is your early practices are going to look so much different than your in-season practices. So this plan that we have going in here, it's a format, it's a structure, but it's going to look different as the season progresses. So then they would back up and throw as long as they can to the point where they have to bounce it, even a couple times. Throwing at long toss is fantastic for arm strength. It's one of the best things you can do. You can throw it two different ways. You can have them throw the arc, or you can have them throw it on a line and then skip it like a rock. And both of them are fine. In fact, there's kind of the major league pitching debate. Do we have the pitchers launch back here and throw a distance, or do we have the pitchers stay tall, stay strong, shoulder square, and fire and skip it like a rock in the lake? You know, it's.
I would just say you mix in a combination.
I do both.
You do both, and we do the same thing. Sometimes we'll just have our players, let's air it out. You know, whatever you need to do, you need to throw it as high as you can to get it as far as you can, do it. But we're going to long toss. One of the things with long toss, what I would have them do is at the end, after you've done as far as they can to failure, where they have to bounce it, then bring them back in. And for the last minute or two, now we're throwing strikes from a closer distance, and that's how we end our warm-up.
Throwing can take up a third of your time in practice, easy, and probably should, because the kids have to work on playing catch, and they have to work on throwing the baseball, and the teams that catch and throw the best play the best. It could easily take up a third of your practice time, especially when you only have an hour. But there's nothing wrong if all you've done is cover throwing the first night or two, and you've done no hitting, no team defense, none of that. That's okay, because you're building a base, you're laying it. You're laying it out there, and the catch and the throw, everything builds on top of that. And so now we get into infield fundamentals, outfield fundamentals, position work, things like that. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I guess I'd like to know from you, is there anything dealing with infield, outfield specifically that you would like us to talk about? And we can, any position work, is it footwork, is it, yeah?
And it may not be the smaller kids may not be to this, but I just remember with our team and fast teams, working with cutoffs, when to hit cutoffs, where to go for cutoffs, you know, using the infield and outfield to understand, you know, and again, this might be for a better, this might be for
and you know what? Balls get hit in the outfield by T-ballers.
But like where to throw, you're saying, or?
Yeah, I just, you know, I think the kids struggle with that even at an older age. I mean, we've seen it this year, and it'd be nice to, you know, when is a good time to start introducing that concept to them at an early, I mean, how, you know, I mean,
Yeah, it'd be
obviously
8, 9 years old.
T-ball is probably a little young, but.
Yep.
Right.
T-ball, it's just please stop building your castle. But
Right.
yeah, as you move on to your machine pitch, there's going to be kids that hit the ball in the outfield. Hey, when I coach teams at that age, I simply presented it to them during my, you know, if you know, after we're done getting a drink and, you know, and we're done throwing, all right, go get a drink, come on back. Guys, we're going to go into our infield work, but I want you to be thinking, well, when you're working on, you know, closing the door, bringing the ball to your gut, or being a catcher, or being an outfielder, think about, all right, do we know kids in the league that can hit the ball to the grass out here? Oh yeah, Billy says he can do it, and I haven't seen him do it yet, but he thinks he can. And, well, there's always that one kid or two kids that can crunch a ball out there. Okay, how do we defend that? And then I just cut them loose, and I make them think about that type of thing. And then we'll come back right before team defense work. We'll say, all right, today's the day we're talking about cutoffs. If you guys want to get Rowan out, hey, here's how we do it. He might get a single, but let's not let him get a double. And then we'll work on cuts. This whole thing is a structure. Like I say, early season practice is going to look different than mid-season practice, because mid-season practice, you're going to work on those things that you've been seeing during the game. What happened in the last game? Oh, they turned 2. Can we turn 2? Or we did turn 2. We were close to turning 2, something like that. Oh, the other team was stealing on us. How do we defend a steal? You know, and that's the stuff where you, as the in-season practices, they're going to look different than the early season, just simply getting them ready. I just want to go through some infield fundamental, outfield fundamental, pitching, base running, just super quick. And then we'll talk a little bit of team defense for the younger ages, then hitting. We're probably down to about 15 minutes here.
Let me just show the triangle fielding drill, where you can do with the 3 guys. Why don't you guys get into that triangle, kind of like you were, a little bit closer actually. Come on, right in here. All right, so you're going to start the ball on all 3 into your fielding position. And I want you to stay down. I want you even lower where your glove is actually on the ground, flat back. So this is what I would do, and I think this is a decent drill where you can have one coach handling a pretty good group of kids. I'm going to get them in that fielding position. You know, obviously you want them down, you want the glove out. You know, I don't want them fielding the ball between their feet. You want them to reach out. And I'm going to have all of them stay in that position. And what you can do then is you have this guy. I want you to throw a thumb down. I want you to, so like just like this, you're just going to roll it right to that guy. You're going to field it, stay in that position, thumb down, and I want you to roll to him. There you go, field it, 2 hands, stay down, throw it to him. And you're just do this. get them reps. They could do this for, a couple minutes and they're gonna, probably field 15, 20, 30 ground balls.
So the organizational piece behind this is having some assistants that can help you out.
Yeah.
People that you can teach how you want to do the drills. Because you're going to want to break them down, you're going to want to rotate them, and you're going to want to do it quickly, and you don't want to spend too much time teaching another dad or another mom during practice while kids are standing around how to do this stuff. You want to talk with them before practice and say, all right, we got our throwing routine going, go take a water break, we'll break down the infield fundamentals, and then here's what I need you to run outfield. I need 2 drills out of you today. And then they can go look at whatever you have for 2 outfield drills. And then I'll have this guy run 2 infield drills, I'll have this person run 2 catching drills, and we're going to rotate. We're going to keep it quick, moving, and then in bam, 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 then because we still got to hit, and that's why they came. So you kind of hold the hitting over their head, because if you hit right away and you let them hit, then shoot, you lost them. I mean, the fielding stuff. Some kids might be that aberration kid who likes to field and do all that, but most kids came to hit. So, infield work, outfield work. If you take a look at some of the handouts I've given you, there's a lot of different things you can do, and I would just choose 2. Maybe just 1 even the first night. Go over it for 3-4 minutes, and then switch them, and move them on. And then, especially at the younger ages, but the younger ages can learn how to get their glove out. They can learn how to field it out in front of them. They can learn to have 1 foot back. They can learn alligator jaws. They can learn to bring it to their gut. But one of the best things is if you can get them into a habit of after they fielded it and brought it to their gut, take a step towards their target. Think of the distance of the throw you've just shortened. If they learn to take the step towards their target, instead of they field it and they stay. I mean, that's a body length right there. Those scoops, that's enough to I know they're little kids, but get them in habits. Get them in good habits of doing that. Guys, I just want to go through a couple of little, you want to do infield outfield? What do you want to do?
What do you guys want? Do you want to get to hitting? Want to go through that, or do you want to open up to questions? You guys have so much paper in front of you, I'm afraid that I want to make sure that we're going to answer whatever it is that you want, whatever that you need. Practice organization, if it's hitting, if it's fielding, if it's outfield drills, if it's whatever. I guess that's my priority, making sure that we hear from you.
How about some outfield for that age where they're kind of afraid of the ball, kind of not afraid of the ball?
Yeah. Outfield work for the young kids. You will find a bucket of tennis balls to be your best friend. And I don't know, maybe ask your team to take a $5 collection and get some tennis balls, or if you know somebody who's a tennis coach or something. But you literally, for the littlest kids, might have to have them hold your glove open. I'm going to throw it in. I need you to catch it. And now, I need you to catch it with 2 hands. It might be something as basic as that. Then you're building up to those kids who have done all this. They know how to catch it. Now, you might be from me to coach away. And now it's just simply, I'm going to chuck it in the air, and I need you to try to find where the baseball is and catch it with 2 hands up here. Instead of catching it here, catch it up here. And then you build them up. Everything's a process, and it's not going to happen overnight. You start easy. This is still easy. Then you can work on drop steps. Then you can, one of the things my guys love to do is there's a 3-ball throwing drill I do with them. They're on a dead sprint, and I just throw a low one, a medium one, and I have them go yard. And they have to try to make the long grab. And little kids, it just gets a ton of energy out of them. And I can't do it. Oh, you guys would love this, but like I say, you throw one low, they have to work on running, but catching the ball down here. They're still running, catch the ball right here, and then you loft one, not ponder-like, otherwise it'll be way off, but throw something over there. Maybe they catch it, and you might get that guy who's not afraid to dive, he makes a diving grab. That's your outfielder, right there. Or even the guy, because Kevin will probably attest to this. If you got a young kid, a little kid here, but someday he wants to play for us, the first way he's going to, unless he has a great arm and he can pitch, he's going to make it as an outfielder first. So don't let those kids think, I hate outfield, there's nothing going on, it's awful, blah, blah, blah. No way. If they're going to make a varsity team that young, they're sure as heck not going to do it as a 9th grade shortstop. It's not happening. Right. They're going to make it as an outfielder. A kid with some jets, a kid who can get after the baseball, catch it with 2 hands, and be sure-handed about it with quick feet. throw it to the right place. You know, that's a big thing. So, so when you're doing infield work or you're doing outfield work, tell them the importance of, hey, someday you may not play much outfield right now, or we want you to, because we got to switch things up. But this is a chance for you to round out your game, and maybe someday you'll be playing high school baseball and you'll have a chance to be an outfielder. They have so much paperwork in front of them for infield, outfield, and pitching stuff. I just want to talk real quick because I think our machine coach coaches are going to introduce pitching this year. Is that right? I want to talk real quick about pitching. When we were doing the throwing stuff, sometimes I'll throw in when they're working with partners. One kid's a pitcher, one kid's a catcher, and some kids hate this, and some kids like this because some kids hate being catchers. You know what I'm talking about? You get the wrong guy and you're playing catch with them. It's like, oh, I should have picked another guy to play catch with. Coach sets you up with a pitcher catcher, but to obviously tell kids to be all properly equipped. But when you're done playing long toss and you bring it in, get them about 40 to 45 feet apart. Start from the stretch, and the pitchers, get them all in a line, partner it up. You're not going to be my catcher, but have them work from the stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just that simple. And you can have them go through a robotic like that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you can start saying, hey, we want to be more rhythmic. We want to be, when you're dancing, you don't sit there and dance like this. You have some rhythm to it. So you can 10 pitches and then switch. And that's how you get some pitching catching work in. And then catching, you start talking about fundamentals of catching. There might be some stuff there too, and we got a ton of it. We just don't have a ton of time to talk about it. So, should we get into, team defense. That's where you start T-ball. Those kids need to learn the positions. You get them in, you're talking about team defense. Left, you go through the whole position lineup. Have them sit down on the bench. And then give them a spot. Have them run out to their spot and see how many guys can go out to the right spot. And just do it every time, just once or twice. It doesn't have to be a whole thing, and if they goof up, it's not a chew-out session. Just one of those things, give it a shot and do that. Team defense. If the kid is about ready to hit off the tee or the machine is about ready to pitch, what does our team look like? And as a coach, you have to relay your expectations. Gloves out, or are you okay with this? And then have the kids also watch other teams and how they do it. But obviously, ready position, and as the ball's on the way, breakdown. And we want the glove close to the ground. We want them ready to move. Okay? So, ready position, breakdown. And those are things you can talk about early on. Then, when you start talking about those scenarios that come up, can we turn a double play? Do we have cut situations we can work on? Then you can start having some kids, just for a short period of time, infielders, outfielders, rotating them around, talk about those situations in practice. What does it mean when a ball's hit the left field? Who's the cutoff? Who's at second base? Things like that.
Yeah. I preach too, I think this comes from Tim Lober, but whenever we're doing batting practice, we're doing fielding practice at the same time. I don't care if it's, everything's out in the outfield. I don't care if, they're not playing their normal position, if they're all, just kind of spread out in the outfield. If it's a ground ball, we're going to field the ground ball properly. If it's a fly ball, we're going to go back on it properly. We're going to come in, catch it, throwing hand side, 2 hands. And if I don't see that, all right, well then we're going to cut your batting practice off until you learn how to field. So we got to use some of those incentives. So a lot of times I'll see practices where you get one guy hitting and then there's 4 guys standing this close together. And I just remember a signal Coach Lobert used to give us from the bench, and he would look out there and he'd get your attention and he'd go, this. Toss one of those, and that was the grenade toss was,
break it up.
You know what, you're too close together, we don't want one grenade killing, 4 of our players or anything, so.
And have extra buckets. That's one thing that always works.
You
Have the extra buckets on second base, have it on first base, and making the throw across. So you're not constantly throwing the ball back to the pitcher if you're, it's not T-ball, but just having that so it's more organized, and you can bring it all in, and it just keeps things flowing a little bit better.
Well, I was going to talk a little bit about what I do hitting-wise. It might be a little bit different than what you're doing. There's some must-haves, I think. Bucket of tennis balls is a must-have. For little kids, it's okay to have a wiffle ball bat because this can turn into something really fun later. But wiffle ball bats, especially early on in the year, I might bring about 7 or 8 of them and have them, if they have their own, great. But I'll go through team hitting, like a team little hitting thing where I'll pretend like I'll pretend like I'm pitching, and the little kids, they'll show me their stance. And we'll talk about where to hold your hands. We're not talking about this, we're talking about being relaxed here. And the whole bit about, I could get into an hour's worth of hitting fundamentals, but they talk about trigger, stride, and swing. And then early on with the little kids, I'll teach them that language. And then I'll watch for them, I'll say freeze! And they have to hold their position and be able to do that. And those are things you can do as a mass group. You can talk, unless you want to talk to 10 kids individually and lose your voice by the end of the night. I like to do things so the kids are hearing the same messages. So I'll do things in mass and do it like that. So I'll have them bring stuff like this. This isn't going to kill anybody, and if they let go of it, it might hurt, but it's not going to kill anybody like a regular baseball bat. The sticks over here are kind of nice. Having extra tees are great. Wiffle balls are great. I sent Mark an article today about having different color wiffle balls. So basically when I get into hitting stations for me means I got some kids hitting live at the plate, and I'm going to do some chucking. I'll sit in a bucket, I'll chuck or whatever. But for little kids, it's okay for them to hit from the plate and hit with the tee there, but then don't have the kids shagging out there. Have them keep doing the hitting stuff, and have parents come out and shag, and have those kids doing the tee work on the side too. Or knowing that they're going to play machine pitch at some point and they're going to eventually play kid pitch, teach them some of the soft toss drills and get them prepared for not just this season but the next couple seasons ahead. Why limit those kids who are good? And teach them some of the drills. There's some cool things you can do with a tee. Jake, you want to come over here? I don't know, I don't know if it's child abuse or what, but he's been hitting off a tee since he was real little. Here, take that bat. I've had him do a lot of different things on the tee, and I've used 2 tees with him, 1 tee. This is, seeing that tee ball and machine pitch, pretty important to be able to hit with the tee. I want this is just a special kind of tee. It doesn't matter what kind of tee you have. So I got a wiffle ball. I got Jake in a position. I'm teaching. I'm just a volunteer dad. I got another kid standing back here. This is one of the stations. But there's some things you can do with the tee that just isn't hitting off the tee. I mean, at home plate, they're going to hit off the tee. But he can just hit like this, and I can say, hey, Jake, I want you to hit it over here. Or Jake, I want you to worry about just hit it right up the middle. And if you have tennis balls, sometimes they stick. But you'll be able to see where they're going. Because what's going to happen is if you teach them to hit certain ways, or you want them to hit certain ways, their body has to do something different. When you say hit it that way, they have to have what are called lazy hips, and they lead just with a closed hip, and they're going to work on punching that way. It's a different kind of swing. And your better players will pick that up. Your kids that are there because they're there, they can try it. There's nothing wrong in exposing them to it. But, the tee work, have them hit there, have them hit there, have them pull. And then, if they're really good, have them stack balls on top of each other and, try to hit a ball so this one drops. That's something you can try to stack them. There's all sorts of stuff. Then, if you have a second tee, put a ball right here. Well, you're not going to actually hit it, Jake. But, have them try to hit this ball into that ball. It seems so easy in theory, but it's darn tough. And it doesn't happen every day. I'm glad he's been able to do this since he was about 6 or 7. But anyway, so that's another thing. I like to also with the tee, because some kids, I don't know if you ever run into that one kid, they look like they have a pretty good swing until here, and they got nothing left. They're just no power. I don't know if you guys ever seen those type of guys. These deflated little volleyballs work great. You put a deflated volleyball out here, and you have them grab I always bring a little heavier bat, and you take a big bat and try to hit a deflated volleyball, and do that 5 or 6 times. Then you take your regular bat and a regular ball, and that ball feels like nothing. Just boom, and the kid starts feeling confident, feeling good, and so tee work is that could take up a bunch of your hitting stations right there for those little kids. The soft toss progression stuff, that could nail a lot of things. Have your parents shag for you. There's nothing wrong with fielding the positions and doing all that if that's what your goal is. But for me, when I'm hitting and when I'm teaching hitting, I want my kids to hit. And I don't want them shagging too much. I'd rather have the parents do that if they want to. And then, so you want to talk about your?
Yeah, you know what, I feel the same way about hitting. A lot of people come up to me and ask me about, what do you think of this new tool that's out there? This, I saw an infomercial for it, or I saw it in the catalog. I'm a huge believer in tees and baseballs, and that's it. That's just, there's 1,000 things you can do with the tee. There's 1,000 you can do with different soft toss drills, and I'm sure you guys know them, but.
Let me go through a couple with you.
We have,
you be my catcher, and then I'll just flip them to you over here.
Okay.
So you got your basic regular toss. You're aiming for the front side. Show the ball, bring it back, and aim for the front side. So that's one. Then, as you get going, you want to aim for the back side. So we're going back hip. So just like with the tee, I asked them to hit one way, and then middle, then another way. I want them to work on inside pitches, outside pitches, inside pitches, outside pitches. That whole thing, and being able to hit the ball where it's pitched. And then every once in a while, I'll do this, and just make it kind of arc, and they have to wait, and because I don't want them to hit the ball at the top of the arc up here. I want them to wait for it, and then that's the ball they hit up the middle. So inside, outside, and this one I want that has arc going up the middle. Then, if you're brave enough, and you want to stand right here, put the ball at about the top of their hat and have them hit the ball before it hits the floor. That's another one. Another part of our soft toss progression, we have juggles. So I'm just juggling the ball. Boom. Boom. I'll take those. And then the last one I'll just show you. And like I say, T-ballers I think could try this, and definitely machine kids. Top and bottom. This is the top ball, this is the bottom.
I did it with a 4-year-old today.
Top, and they hit the top ball.
And he loved it.
Yeah, he absolutely loved it. Oh, sorry, Dave. Bottom, and you just tell them which ball to hit. It's just a soft toss progression, yeah.
Don, I see a lot of people doing this, and a lot of guys, I disagree with the way that they're doing it. I like the way you do it. You do it the way I do it, at a 45-degree angle, so you can actually see where you're tossing it to. A lot of
As
guys,
opposed to being lined up over
yeah,
here.
right, straight
Absolutely.
across.
Yep.
They see it coming from more of where they should
Oh,
be
you
seeing
don't
it.
want it here.
Yeah.
Right, and I
No
see
way.
a lot of guys doing it straight across, and I try to correct it, and they're just, a lot of people are afraid. I do it all the time with hard ball, and I'm at that 45-degree angle, and I've never been hit. Never.
Yeah. And
You ever do it from behind them?
yeah, you can. I think at the younger ages, that's something that's going to mess them up more than help them.
Yeah.
At the older ages, honestly, I think the only value that behind them has is tracking. Eyeballs. You have to work on following a ball. But in a game, how often you see a ball coming from behind you? That's just my thought. I've seen it. I've seen it done. I kind of get the idea a little bit. But I have 55 other drills I can do instead of behind it. So it's just an option. But bottom line, you get to the hitting part. As the head coach or the main guy, you want to be walking around. You want to, or either at the plate working with kids, but you want to be kind of the person that is the voice. The more assistants you have that can help you with the things, that you can walk around and be the voice telling, here's what I want to see, the better. If you can teach a mom or dad to do what I just did, if you can teach a mom or dad to stack wiffle balls, or to just to say, hey, outside, middle, inside, whatever it takes, so that you can free yourself up to be the hitting instructor. I highly advise doing it that way. And it might take a coach's meeting to do it. It might take a little bit of advanced, before practice, I need to see it 15 minutes beforehand so I can tell you exactly what I want you to do. But that's a part of organization and coaching.
Yeah, one of the other novelties, I see you got some of these other ones in there. So many novelty things you can do with soft toss as well, is they make actually hard baseballs this size. We have, some of those that we'll mix in. The golf wiffle balls, we'll mix those into soft toss.
Birdies from badminton are fun.
You bet.
Chuck
Just have
birdies on the
goggles
kids.
on.
Yeah.
We'll put some, we take a regular baseball and we just color different dots on here. Red, blue,
Yeah.
green, yellow. Soft toss, tell me which one you hit. Tell me which color you hit, the last, second that you saw it. So, a lot of different things you can throw at them as well.
Got a quick question, just for the younger ages. I mean, I think we've seen, you see so many different coaches with different hitting styles. You see people that tell them arm up. What do you want as coaches, and this is probably more for you just because this is your program, what do you want to see, as the kids progress from age group to age group, their batting, and, stances, swing,
Can I see this for a second?
Can you clear up the elbow up thing, because we all
Yeah,
know
you know
that that's
what,
not
here's,
right?
and this is funny you said, because like I said, I worked with a 4-year-old today, I worked with my 4-year-old on it. This is the progression, and I have to check the toes, that they're pointing straight ahead. A lot of kids, they want to open up that front side. That's number one. Start everything from the ground up. I teach for, as far as like the feet, the lower body, hockey stance, football stance, well, that's your baseball stance too. Somewhere outside your shoulders. Where do I have them put their hand for their stance? And stance is one of those things at the younger age, I'm going to be pretty rigid at it. As they get older, I think stance becomes more of a style than it is an absolute. As you can see, like the major league levels, they're all over the place with their stance. But if you notice, when that front foot comes down, they're all in the same position. So as far as stance goes, where would I start them? The conversation I had with my 4-year-old was, I want you to get ready to punch me, to take a swing at me. And he's like this, I'm standing here, and he goes like this. And I said, stop. Keep your hand right there. That's where we're going to start, right in front of the back shoulder. Elbow, that's always a discussion here. 45 here.
In my kids' clinics, I tell the kids, would you rather punch somebody from here,
Right.
here, or here? And I tell them, pick up the kid that you're going to fight with his arm up here. you have a chance on that one. So that kind of clears up all the elbow thing.
And it does. When you tell a little kid, I want you to take a swing at me, they kind of do it. It's a natural position. Nobody does this. So they sort of get into that position on their own. I don't know where else you want me to go. Stance.
And that's really the big thing. What I've seen with T-ball and the younger kids is you have a lot of kids that have different ideas about hitting. They've been taught different ways. So, to have, and maybe it's even coming from you, hey, here's what we want to see with our kids. So that alleviates some of the parental, no, this is how you're going to hit. No, this is how we want you to hit.
Right.
Hey, this is as an Anoka program. Here's how we want. Here's the things we want you to work on. Here's I think that would alleviate some of those coaching issues with parents too. I think would be.
Yeah, you bet. And you want to talk about? Do they know about that? We're going to try to do a hitting specific.
Yep, every month we're going to be doing, different topics, and that's one of the topics that we'll be hitting in February. We'll be hitting, I think next month we're going to be working on pitching with Dave Heave. And so I'll constantly get out the communications, and they'll be coming out, but those are specific topics that we'll take a full couple hours on, and we won't break those up.
Sure.
Real quick, the one area you can work on your question and how and philosophy and all that is before you get your guys broken up into groups, spread them out, make sure they're not going to hit anybody, tell them to get in their stance. Guys, you have a baseball coming right down the middle, show me your swing. You got a baseball in the outside corner, there's 2 strikes, show me your swing. You got a baseball in the outside corner that's not a strike, but the umpire wants to go home, show me your swing. All these scenarios, you do 5 or 6 of those, boom, move on to the drills. And then you work on that type of thing. We're running low on time. We end things with something fun. One thing I used to do is me and my coach, we used to play hot dogs. And a lot of kids in the base paths are not so daring anymore. We used to have this little dare rag. It's kind of just a skull and crossbones kind of thing. And the kid who would be the last one to win the hot box get to keep this for the next practice. It's just something cheesy, but it's something that they all wanted to have. That's why it looks so ugly. But it's just something to get them thinking, all right, baseball and base running, you want to get on base. And base running is really fun when you do it well. And so play some hot dogs. Bringing moms and dads out a little dizzy izzy. Anything. There's all sorts of things you can do, but just end it on a high note, end it on a happy note.
How about we did this with the high school kids. We're end of practice, we're running bases. So they run a single, and then they jog to second, jog to third, jog home, and then they get in line. They run a double, they jog to third, jog to they do when we get to the home run, so after they've run an inside the park home run, the last one, and this is what they look forward to, and this is why they can tolerate the drill, is they get to do their home run trot. So you have them just fake swing, you know, and they just get all animated with all, all their different things that they do, and then you can do your home run shot all the way around. But it's all of a sudden it's like that crappy drill that you just got done doing, and all that running, it ends with, hey, that was kind of fun.
Yep, and it happens at our level too. You try to make it fun, have a good time with it. You know, you don't go to a comedy club, you expect, you know, you want to laugh on your last joke, you know, and you go home, you don't think, God, that sucked, I'm not coming back, you know, and all that, so. If you have any questions, I think we'll just be around here. We're going to clear the room and get the next group in, but take a look at some of the things over here. I have a bunch of little, like I say, it's all gimmicks and stuff, but take a look. If you're wondering about anything, I'll kind of be around. You can ask your questions, but otherwise, thanks.